Hi guys, Matt Hetherington here. I'm back with another coaching video, and in today's video the topic is anticipation, and I wanted to give you some simple tips that might help you improve your reaction speed and your anticipation, and also a few demonstrations of different drills, but also explaining how you can build on those drills and how you can progress to make things gradually more difficult. So most of these tips focus actually on the recovery after the previous shot. So how you prepare during that recovery phase for the next ball is very important. So one of the first things you need to focus on, no matter what kind of shot you've played, whether it's a flick in close to the table or a short push or an opening loop, after you've played that shot, it's important to get back into a neutral position or start moving towards a recovery in a neutral position. Okay, so your racket will be neutral forward. This allows you to prepare for either a forehand or backhand. We don't want to be preemptive and play a swing here and then go back like this, because if the ball goes to the backhand, we don't have time to get across. So finishing your strokes here and then breathing out and letting your racket drop into that neutral position is very important. We also need to think about where we are on the table. So after we play these shots, we want to try and recover towards this position on the table. This is where we start our points. This is our recovery position and our neutral position covering this backhand side. But for example, if I make an opening ball here, instinctively I want to get back to here, and then if the ball comes back here, I can push off again. I want to get into my recovery position and also be in the recovery zone on the table. One of the important things for that, especially if you're wanting to play more forehand, is that as you're tending back to this position, you want to start shifting your body weight back towards this leg. And then if the ball does come back out to your forehand, you can push off again before settling here. What happens after the ball leaves your racket is incredibly important if you want to improve your reaction speed. So when the ball comes off your racket, this is when your recovery phase has to begin. Okay, so you can't hang there and watch the ball, or you can't stand there and admire the shot that you just played. Once the ball comes off your racket, that is when you start making the recovery, or a little bit after the ball comes off. So the ball comes off your racket, you finish your stroke, then you have to start making that recovery. Now, as you're moving back into that recovery position, your eyes should go to your opponent. So straight away, you should be looking at your opponent. There are so many different little things that you can look at that are going to help you figure out what your opponent's going to do next. So I'm going to go through them one by one. First thing you need to look at after you've hit a ball is how is your opponent moving to that ball. This is a good time to see if there are any positions left open on the table, if there are any body weight imbalances, if there's any movement that's too much, if your opponent's reaching, you need to pay attention to how your opponent's moving for that ball. The next thing that you really want to look at is the stroke preparation. So as your opponent's moving, are they winding up their racket like this? Is their racket coming to the side and up? What stroke are they preparing for? Okay, this you must know. Once your opponent starts moving and starts doing that preparation, you need to collect information. What kind of stroke are you going to be dealing with on the next ball? Once you've collected information on what kind of stroke the ball is going to be, then you need to look at racket angles and also whether the stroke acceleration is grippy or whether it's going to be a flat contact, how the weight transfer is moving through the shot, and finally, you need to pay very close attention to the body weight transfer and particularly the shoulders. And this is even more so on the backhand, where the shoulders end up pointing as the ball comes off the racket usually indicates where the body weight transfer is pushing and where the direction of the ball is going to go. Taking that from, let's say I'm doing a forehand flip and then the next ball is coming, I would come into the table, make my forehand flip, and as the ball comes off my racket and I'm finishing my stroke, my eyes are coming up, I finish here, I come back, get into my ready position and racket down, and then I'm collecting information. So let's say my opponent's anchored on their backhand like this, they've seen the flick coming, they're reacting this way, they're just playing a kind of flat contact and their shoulders are pointing down the line. I then have to get across and get prepared. I know the ball is coming down here and it's going to be kind of a flat punch, and maybe I want to prepare to play the ball across court. The difficulty with this, of course, is that everything happens like that. In table tennis, you don't have that much time to react, and you'll actually find that just watching your opponent after you finish your stroke and as you're recovering will subconsciously help your reactions increase. So it's like if you're doing multi-ball. When you do multi-ball, every time you finish a shot, you look up at the feeder. When you're doing multi-ball, you're not watching the ball that you just hit go across the table because you don't have time. So you need to take that focus that you have in multi-ball where you're watching the feeder and bring it back into your training with partners or your matches with people. You need to have that focus on their racket and their body position. The other piece of information that you have in a rally is what the effect of the shot that you've just played is going to have. So you take all of that information. Sometimes you can shut down some options and it helps you tend towards a particular outcome. So you can create more predictable responses. This helps a lot with your anticipation skills as well. But a lot of it comes down to gathering information before your opponent hits the ball, as your opponent hits the ball, and as the ball comes off their racket, you need to start the preparation for your shot. You need to start moving. As soon as the ball leaves their racket, nothing else is going to change. If you don't have enough information, you need to make a decision straight away because nothing is going to change after the ball leaves the racket. So as soon as it comes off your opponent's racket, that's when you're going to start moving. That's where you're going to start your stroke preparation. And if you can get into the habit of moving that quickly, that's going to help also your ability to react and anticipate the incoming ball. So obviously when you're training and picking drills for these kinds of things, you need to include random elements. And if you want to improve your anticipation, doing fixed drills where you know where the ball is going to go is not going to help you. One of the pieces of advice that I have is to, in the beginning, steadily introduce a random element to a fixed drill. So maybe you're doing a drill where you're playing Falkenberg, you're playing one backhand, one step around, one forehand, and then after 3 sets, when you get to this forehand, you can hit the ball anywhere, or maybe the blocker can block the next ball anywhere. After you play that forehand, you need to start introducing random elements. When you're doing multi-ball, it's good to fix maybe one element at a time, so keep it simple in the beginning. Here is a drill that I practiced with Lily today, where I'm just doing one flip from the middle of the table and one topspin ball anywhere. When you want to start increasing the difficulty of these drills, all you need to do is start adding more random elements. So I could progress from the drill that you just saw into one where I'm creating 2 random elements. So the next drill, I'm doing one forehand opening and then 2 topspin balls anywhere. Then of course you can create a large number of random elements. So in this next multi-ball drill, I'm doing one backhand flip or one flip in the middle and then 7 to 8 balls anywhere on the table. Those are some more topspin oriented drills that you can add random elements to. And it's just as simple as adding more random topspin balls. You can then also add more random elements to serving or receiving or the early parts of the point as well. So for example, you can do a drill where you serve short maybe 70% of the time and then long and fast 30% of the time. You can do drills where a receiver is coming in and pushing the first ball short, and then let's say 20% of the time they're pushing long or they're making a backhand flick. So really, in order to continue improving your anticipation, it's important to keep adding random elements to your drills and not just doing always fixed element exercises like 3-point forehand and a backhand, middle, backhand, forehand. It's very important to add drills that have random elements in them. And then of course, a lot of match practice is going to really help you with your anticipation because that's at a match pace. And doing multi-ball really helps because in multi-ball, you can increase the speed a lot. You can feed faster than the pace of a regular match. And this helps you build those quick reactions. So there are some basic tips about improving your reaction speed and your anticipation, mainly through improving what you do in your recovery phase from a stroke, and then a handful of drills and some ideas about how you might create new drills or develop drills to help you improve your reaction speed and anticipation. Definitely recommend mixing up table drills and multi-ball. Multi-ball is just great for improving reaction speed. Thank you guys for joining me again. This is the 21st video, I think, now out of 30, so we still have quite a few left. And I have some good topic suggestions from people. If you have any thoughts also, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you guys for joining me again.